Most men don't lose a woman when she walks away. They lose her long before that. They lose her in the moment she explains her pain and he calls it drama. They lose her when she asks for consistency and he treats it like control. They lose her when she becomes quiet and instead of listening to the silence, he celebrates because the argument stopped. But listen carefully. A woman does not leave when her love disappears. She leaves when her hope dies. And most men never notice the death of that hope because they are too busy defending their ego, proving they are right, acting strong, acting cold, acting like they don't care. They think being a man means controlling her emotions. No, being a man means mastering your own. Because the woman in front of you is not asking for perfection. She is watching for safety. She is not studying your words. She is studying your pattern. She is not impressed by how loudly you speak. She is moved by how deeply you listen. And this is what most men get completely wrong about women. They think her heart is difficult to understand. But the truth is, her heart becomes difficult only when a man keeps making it unsafe to stay open. Most men do not lose a woman because they are not strong enough. They lose her because they misunderstand what strength is. They think strength is loud. They think strength is control. They think strength is winning the argument, being colder, being harder to reach, making her wonder, making her chase, making her feel lucky that he stayed. But listen carefully. A woman does not truly open her heart to the man who can dominate the room. She opens her heart to the man who can dominate himself. This is where many men go wrong. They study how to get her attention, but not how to become worthy of her peace. They study what words to say, what message to send, what face to show, what silence to use, what strategy will make her attached. But they do not study their own impatience. They do not study their own anger. They do not study the small weakness inside them that wants love without responsibility, admiration without discipline, loyalty without leadership, intimacy without emotional courage. And then they say, women are complicated. No. The undisciplined mind calls everything complicated. When a man cannot understand his own emotions, a woman's emotions will feel like a storm. When a man cannot sit with discomfort, her silence will feel like punishment. When a man cannot hear truth without feeling attacked, her honesty will feel like disrespect. When a man cannot lead himself, he will try to control her. And control is not leadership. Control is fear wearing armor. Look at the mountain. It does not shout at the clouds. It does not chase the wind. It does not prove to the valley that it is tall. It simply stands. Because it stands, everything around it knows where it is. This is the kind of presence a woman feels. Not the presence of a man trying to impress her. Not the presence of a man trying to trap her. But the presence of a man who has roots. Many men want a woman who is soft, loyal, peaceful, feminine, warm, and devoted. But they bring into her life confusion, ego, inconsistency, emotional laziness, and a hunger to be served before they have learned how to serve life. They want her softness, but they do not create safety. They want her respect, but they do not move with integrity. They want her patience, but they keep testing it. They want her trust, but their words and actions do not walk on the same path. A woman does not become difficult without reason. A flower does not close because it hates the sun. It closes when the air becomes too cold, when the hands become too rough, when the place around it is no longer safe for blooming. Most men see the closed flower and blame the flower. A wise man studies the weather he brought. Do not ask, why is she so guarded? Ask, what kind of world has taught her to guard herself? Do not ask, why does she need reassurance? Ask, have my actions made my words easy to believe? Do not ask, why does she bring up small things? Ask, what small things have I ignored until they became heavy inside her heart? The great mistake is thinking women only listen to what you say. No. She listens to the space between your words. She listens to your tone when you are tired. She listens to whether your eyes soften or harden when she is vulnerable. She listens to how you treat people who cannot give you anything. She listens to whether you keep your promises when no one is clapping. She listens to the way your energy changes after you get what you wanted. A woman studies consistency because consistency is the language of safety. You may say, I love you, but if your actions say, I only love you when it is convenient, she will hear the action louder than the sentence. You may say, trust me, But if your behavior creates confusion, she will trust the confusion more than the command. You may say, I am different. But if your discipline is weak, your difference will only be decoration. A man who wants to understand women must first understand this. A woman's heart is not a prize to be captured. It is a world to be protected, not protected as property, protected as sacred ground. You do not own sacred ground. You bow before it. You walk carefully on it. You do not throw your anger there. You do not plant your insecurity there. You do not dump your childhood wounds there and call it honesty. You take responsibility for what you bring into the temple. Most men confuse access with intimacy. Because she replies, they think they are close. Because she smiles, they think she is open. Because she stays, they think she is satisfied. But a woman can remain present while slowly leaving inside. She can sleep beside you and still feel miles away. She can laugh at your jokes and still feel unseen. She can cook, support, encourage, forgive, and still be silently preparing for the day her spirit has had enough. This is why the wise man does not wait until she breaks. He listens while she whispers. He listens when the problem is still small. He listens before her voice becomes tired. He understands that when a woman keeps telling you the same thing, she is not trying to annoy you. She is giving you a map. She is saying, this is where the bridge is cracking. This is where the water is entering. This is where we can still repair it. But the foolish man hears correction and feels insult. He hears emotion and calls it drama. He hears pain and calls it nagging. He hears boundaries and calls it attitude. Then when she becomes silent, he says, she changed. No, she did not change in one day. She changed in all the moments you refused to change with her. A man must learn the difference between a woman testing him and a woman measuring safety. Many call everything a test because their ego does not want to be examined. But sometimes she is not testing your power. She is checking your steadiness. She is asking without asking. When life becomes uncomfortable, will you become cruel? When I am afraid, will you make me feel foolish? When I need you, will you disappear? When I speak truth, will you punish me with distance? The man who reacts like a boy teaches her to protect herself like a soldier. Then he complains that she is not soft. If you want softness, become safe. If you want respect, become disciplined. If you want loyalty, become consistent. If you want peace, stop bringing war into every conversation. If you want a woman who trusts your leadership, first lead your own mouth, your own mood, your own desire, your own temper, your own time, your own direction. You cannot be king in her heart while being a prisoner of every impulse. Many men believe romance is the big gesture, the expensive dinner, the public display, the dramatic apology, the beautiful words after the damage has already been done. But real romance is smaller, quieter, and more difficult. Real romance is remembering what matters to her after she said it once. It is changing a behavior because it hurts her, not because she threatened to leave. It is speaking gently when you have the power to be sharp. It is choosing transparency when hiding would be easier. It is protecting her name when she is not there. It is being the same man in private that you pretend to be in public. A woman does not only want flowers. She wants to feel that the hand giving the flowers is clean from betrayal. This is not weakness, this is maturity. Some men hear this and become defensive. They say, what about what women do wrong? What about men's pain? What about men's needs? Listen, a wise teaching does not become false because it is not the only teaching. Today we speak of the blindness of men not because women are perfect, but because a man who wishes to grow must stop using other people's faults as an excuse to remain unchanged. The warrior does not say, I will train only when the enemy becomes fair. The warrior trains because training is his path. If you are a man, do not ask how to make a woman obey you. Ask how to become a man whose presence makes obedience unnecessary. A true woman does not need to be controlled when she feels respected, protected, heard, and free. She chooses closeness when closeness does not cost her dignity. She chooses devotion when devotion does not require self-abandonment. She chooses softness when softness is not punished. Many men think women want a perfect man. No. Perfection is too cold. Perfection has no breath. What a good woman desires is a man who is awake, a man who sees himself, a man who can say, I was wrong without collapsing, A man who can say, I am learning without shame. A man who can say, I hear you, and then prove it with his behavior. A man who is not afraid of emotional depth because he has entered the deep places of his own soul. You cannot meet a woman deeply if you only know yourself shallowly. When she asks, how was your day? She may not only be asking for information, she may be inviting connection. When she says, I feel distant from you, she may not be attacking. She may be standing at the edge of a closing door, asking you to come closer before it shuts. When she says, never mind, sometimes it means, I no longer feel safe enough to explain myself again. When she says, do what you want, sometimes it means, I have stopped believing my feelings influence your choices. Do not become proud because she stopped complaining. Sometimes silence is not peace. Sometimes silence is the sound of love leaving quietly. A woman's respect is not built by fear. Fear can make someone quiet, but it cannot make them love. Fear can make someone stay, but it cannot make them feel safe. Fear can make someone perform loyalty, but it cannot make their heart bow naturally. If you need fear to keep love, you never had love. You had possession. This is what most men get completely wrong. They think being a man means being untouchable. But the strongest men are deeply touchable by truth. They are not controlled by truth, but they are open to it. They do not fall apart when a woman tells them what hurts. They do not turn every conversation into a courtroom where they must win. They understand that love is not a debate to conquer. It is a mirror to polish. When she is emotional, do not rush to defeat the emotion. Enter the room slowly, breathe, listen beneath the words. There is the surface and there is the root. The surface may sound like anger. The root may be fear. The surface may sound like complaint. The root may be loneliness. The surface may sound like control. The root may be a desperate need for stability. A foolish man fights the surface. A wise man finds the root. But finding the root requires patience. Patience is not passive. Patience is active strength. Anyone can shout. Anyone can leave. Anyone can punish with silence. Anyone can say, you are too much. But to remain present without becoming weak, to listen without becoming defensive, to speak with firmness without cruelty, this is skill, this is training. You train your body, but do you train your attention? You train your image, but do you train your integrity? You train your career, but do you train your heart? Many men can lift heavy weight, but cannot carry one honest conversation. Many men can survive pressure from the outside world, but break when a woman asks them to be emotionally responsible. External strength without internal mastery becomes danger. A woman's intuition is often not magic. It is observation sharpened by experience. She notices the shift in your tone. She notices the delay in your answer. She notices when your presence is there but your spirit is elsewhere. She notices when your apology is designed to end the conversation, not heal the wound. She notices when you are performing maturity instead of living it. Do not insult her intelligence by giving her words your energy cannot support. If you are tired, say you are tired with kindness. If you are overwhelmed, say you are overwhelmed without blaming her for it. If you need space, ask for space with care, not with punishment. If you made a mistake, do not decorate it. Own it. The clean wound heals faster than the wound covered in lies. Many men think apology makes them small. No. A real apology is not kneeling to shame. It is standing in truth. It says, my ego will not be more important than the damage I caused. It says, I value repair more than pride. It says, I am strong enough to face myself. But apology without change is only noise. Do not use sorry as a broom to sweep the same dirt under the same carpet. If your sorry does not become discipline, it becomes manipulation. A woman may forgive words, but her nervous system remembers patterns. She may say okay, but her body still waits for the next impact. This is why trust returns slowly. Not because she wants to punish you, but because safety must be rebuilt by repetition. A man who rushes her healing is still centered on himself. He says, why are you still hurt? What he means is your pain is inconvenient for me. He says, I already apologized. What he means is I want the reward of repair without the labor of rebuilding. But a wise man understands, if I broke the bridge, I do not complain about the time it takes to cross again. I pick up the tools, I return each day, I rebuild with quiet consistency. Love is not proven by intensity. Intensity can be selfish. Some men love strongly for 1 week, then become careless for 3 months. They give fire, then give frost. They create addiction, not safety. A woman's heart cannot rest in unpredictable weather. She may be attracted to the storm, but she can only build a life in a climate. Become the climate, not the storm. This does not mean become boring. It means become dependable. A calm river is not dead. It is powerful enough to move mountains over time. A steady flame is not weak. It is the flame that cooks the food, warms the home, and survives the night. Many men want to be lightning because lightning is dramatic. But lightning appears and disappears. Be the sun, rise with discipline, give warmth without begging for applause. Be constant enough that life can grow around you. Women are not asking men to stop being masculine. They are asking men to purify their masculinity. Masculinity without awareness becomes domination. Masculinity with awareness becomes protection. Masculinity without discipline becomes appetite. Masculinity with discipline becomes devotion. Masculinity without humility becomes ego. Masculinity with humility becomes wisdom. Masculinity without compassion becomes coldness. Masculinity with compassion becomes leadership. The question is not, are you masculine? The question is, has your masculinity been trained? An untrained sword cuts the hand that holds it. An untrained man wounds the woman who loves him, then wonders why she flinches. Many men are hungry to be respected, but they treat respect like a demand. Respect me because I am a man. Respect me because I provide. Respect me because I am older. Respect me because I said so. But forced respect is only fear standing still. Earned respect has life in it. It grows because she sees your character when things are not easy. She sees you keep your word. She sees you handle anger without becoming destructive. She sees you protect the relationship from your own ego. She sees you make decisions with wisdom, not insecurity. Providing is noble, but money is not the full house. If a man provides resources but starves a woman emotionally, he should not be surprised when the home feels empty. Food on the table matters, shelter matters, stability matters, but so does warmth, so does listening, so does tenderness, so does the feeling that she is not alone while sitting next to you. Some men work hard outside and become lazy inside the relationship. They say, I am tired. Yes, the body gets tired, but love also needs maintenance. A garden does not survive because you planted it once. It survives because you return, you water, you remove weeds, you notice when leaves change color. You do not say, I watered you last month, why are you dry again? A relationship is alive. Anything alive requires attention. The woman in your life is not a trophy showing the world your value. She is a human being with fears, dreams, wounds, desires, memories, and a soul that existed before she met you. Many men want to be loved by a woman, but they do not take time to know the woman. They know her body. They know her routine. They know what makes her smile on the surface, but they do not know what still hurts from her past. They do not know what kind of love makes her feel safe. They do not know the dreams she quietly put aside. They do not know where she feels unseen. To be with a woman and not know her inner world is to stand outside a temple and brag that you own it. Ask better questions, not like an interview, like a man who is willing to enter. What makes you feel most cared for? What do I do that makes you close your heart? What did you need when you were younger that you did not receive? What does peace feel like to you? What kind of future makes your spirit breathe? What fear do you carry that you rarely speak of? And when she answers, do not use her vulnerability later as a weapon. Many women stop opening not because they have nothing to say, but because the last time they opened, the man used the truth against them. He mocked it, he minimized it, he called it weakness, he stored it for the next argument. This is betrayal of the deepest kind. A man who cannot protect a woman's vulnerability does not deserve access to it. Do not ask her to be soft while you punish softness. Do not ask her to be honest while you explode at honesty. Do not ask her to trust while you make truth unsafe. The door you want to enter is the same door you keep breaking. And understand this clearly. A woman's emotional memory is not overthinking. It is pattern recognition. If you keep doing the same thing, she will stop believing in your new promises. Not because she wants to be negative, but because reality has trained her. If your words say new but your pattern says old, she will trust the pattern. The body believes repetition. So do not be surprised when one small mistake triggers a large reaction. Sometimes she is not reacting only to that moment. She is reacting to the 1,000 moments behind it. The wise man does not say, "Why are you making it so big?" He asks, "What history did I awaken here? What wound did this touch? What part of our past is still asking to be healed?" This is not weakness, this is awareness. A strong man can hold complexity. A weak man needs everything simple so his ego can survive. He wants her to be happy all the time, easy all the time, available all the time, understanding all the time, beautiful all the time, peaceful all the time. But he does not ask whether he is creating a life where such peace can exist. He wants the fruit but does not honor the soil. Look at nature. Nothing blooms by command. You cannot stand over a seed and shout, "Grow." You cannot threaten a river into clarity. You cannot shame the moon into becoming the sun. You create conditions. You become patient. You understand rhythm. Women, like all human beings, respond to conditions. Safety opens, neglect closes, respect nourishes, contempt poisons, consistency strengthens, chaos exhausts. When a man says, "I do not understand women," often he means, "I do not want to slow down enough to observe without judgment." Slow down. Hear what is being said, hear what is not being said, hear the tiredness behind her sentence. Hear the hope beneath her complaint. Hear the love still present in her frustration, because a woman who still speaks often still cares. The dangerous moment is not when she argues. The dangerous moment is when she becomes calm in a way that feels distant, when her eyes no longer search your face, when she no longer asks where you are going, when she no longer explains what hurt her, when she no longer tries to bring you closer. Many men celebrate too early. Finally, peace. No. Sometimes it is not peace, it is surrender. She has stopped fighting for the relationship because she has started fighting for herself. Do not wait for that day to become wise. You must learn to see love not as something you receive, but as a discipline you practice. Love is in the way you return after disagreement. Love is in the way you speak when pride is burning. Love is in the way you handle temptation when no one would know. Love is in the way you keep the promises that were easy to make but difficult to live. Love is in the way you choose the relationship over the temporary pleasure of being right. Being right can be lonely. Winning arguments can cost you tenderness. Protecting your ego can destroy the home you wanted to build.